Alright, my name's Andrew. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to build a coil. I'm going to be teaching you the simplest, easiest method I know. Some basic tools you need, obviously, is your buildable atomizer. You need wire, some needle nose pliers, uh, whatever screwdriver fits your vape, which 9 times out of 10 is a little bit Phillips head, wire cutters, you need some plain white non-bleached cotton, and a drill helps. Um, if you don't know where you got stuff, you can go to your local vape shop and get almost everything you need. You can even buy a pre-built kit like this that comes with everything you need inside of it. This also comes with a pair of ceramic tweezers, which helps. They're not necessary, but they do help. Um, you also need to get I also suggest getting a jig. If you're not sure on building coils and you don't want to mess it up, I do suggest a jig. It looks pretty much like this, multiple parts. Um, Pick the size of the coil you want uh, based off how thick the pole is. Then you find the corresponding top. I like the big one. That's just me. Let's put all this back in here. Alright, so the atomizer I'm going to be building on today is the Infinite version 2. As you can see, it's a 4-post. Take a view of that. It's got 4 separate holes, 4 different screws. That's 2 positives in the middle, 2 negatives on the outside. All standard RBAs, gonna look something like this, 2-part, part drip mod. Obviously, like I said, you need some wire. Kenthal A1 is the type of wire. There are several different brands of Kenthal wire. This is the brand that came with the kit, which is LTQ. I say this kit literally comes with everything. This kit even came with cotton and wire and all that good stuff. I'm using 24 gauge wire today. Like I said, you need the pliers, you need the wire cutters, you need the screwdriver, which again this kit comes with, some scissors to help cut your cotton and size it. Please not while I'm doing the video. Regular tweezers help with pulling the cotton, and then ceramic tweezers for pressing your coil, but we'll get to that. Alright, so get all my tools out here. First things first, you have to get your wire. I say roughly about a foot to a foot and a half of wire for your standard double coil, which is what we're going to be doing today. Lock that back off. Okay. Then you have your standard wire. That's roughly about a foot and a half right there. Now you have to straighten your wire. You don't want to use curled wire. It doesn't always come out right. So what I do is, I use a drill. I bend the 2 tips of my wire to look like little hooks like this. You see the little hook? Alright, so you put the little hooks in the wire, and I do that for holding the wire. Alright, take your drill, whatever direction you spin it on, doesn't really matter. You open your tip just a bit, you take that first hook, and you place it inside the drill bit and tighten it up. Like so. You just have that wire sticking out. You take your other end and hold it with the pliers. You pull it taut, and then you just spin your drill. The longer the wire, the longer the stays. Some people know when to stop. I really don't, so I just let this thing spin. And just keep letting it go. It'll stop on its own pretty much. There it goes. And there it goes. Snaps clean off, and you have a perfectly straight wire. Look how straight that is. Nothing to it. Just run it on a drill, the drill does the work. You might see it heat up a little bit on one end and even shrink down a little bit like that. You're all right. So now we cut that other hook off because we no longer need it. Set that right there. Leave hooks everywhere. All right. All standard jigs. The base has 2 holes in it. One right here on the side. You see the hole? And then one right there on the top next to the pole. There are several different types of jigs. This is the one I like. There's some that are set up for hand wrapping. The more experience using. So anyway, you put the wire through the holes and then just hold it down to the jig with your thumb. It's going to bend a little bit. That's okay. We'll worry about that later. You do the first initial wrap with your fingers. Wrap it down as close to the base as you can get. You know, you just need about a half wrap. And then this is where the little screw comes in handy. You just put the top on and you twist. Wire to wire is your first wrap. I'm going to do 10 because that's just what I like. You can do 5, you can do 6, you can do 12. Just whatever fits on your vape, that's what you can do. Experiment and see what you like. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you pull it out, leave about an inch or so, and you have your coil. Perfectly formed all the way. Now, as you see, that one arm is bent up a little bit. That's not that big of an issue, not that hard to fix. You flip it over on your jig, you grab it with your pliers, and you just kind of pull it out straight. Pull the 2 wires together, pull it out straight. Literally mostly just pulling. Pull this way. Oops. Alright. As you can see by the coil itself, the wire is straightened. Alright. So now you make another one. Exactly the same way. Remember to stick off at least about 6 inches or so out of the top of the jig to work with. And then you have your leftover wire. Set that aside because if it's long enough like mine, you can use it for another coil later. Alright, so now I have my 2 coils. Yay! Pretty simple, pretty easy. Put my jig up. Alright, now it's time to actually assemble the coil onto the mod. First things first, when you have a 4-post like this, You have to loosen you know it's differently than if you have a 3-post or a 2-post. I prefer the 4-post, and 4-posts are pretty standard these days. You loosen the screws up on your mod just enough that you can see through the hole, so that way you can stick the wire through the hole. Got to stick the pole through the hole. Alright, so you got your 4 holes open. Don't know if you can actually see that. Alright, you stick one coil, you stick one pole through the positive and one through the negative. You did not have to get that close. And I can actually aim. Alright, I do mine like that, where I use the opposite positive and negative. You can do them both right here. That's fine, just depends on how big your coil is. So you stick that first coil in and you push it almost all the way to the edge. Almost. You don't want it touching, you just want it that close. So you push it in, you hold it there, and then you tighten down the screws respectively to that coil. That's my brother in the other room making a protein drink. I went and put my jig up. I forgot that's what he did. Alright, at this point, you use your jig, you push it back through the coil. You want to straighten your coil out, and in this case, I'm going to push it down, away from the post some. What is touching right now is fine. We'll adjust in a minute. Now that that coil's in, we come and you get as close to it as you can. Put those wire cutters straight up against the post and just clip off that extra wire. Clip off that extra wire. And then you take your second coil and repeat with the opposite 2 posts. This one we don't have to push down. This one you just got to straighten out a little bit. The only reason we push that first one down was so that when we stick the wire through on the second one, it doesn't smash into the coil. It goes above the coil. And also so when you're cutting it, you don't accidentally cut the previous coil. Once again, you get those wire cutters in close. I don't know where any of those 4 wires went, I ain't gonna lie. Check your coils, check your posts, make sure that everything's as close to it as you can get. Your standard wire cutters will work. If you can afford a little bit more, I suggest you can go to Walmart and get these. Most paper stores will have. Get flush wire cutters. They cut closer to the post. They're better. But they're not necessary. Your standard wire cutters will work. Alright, so now that you have your second coil in, you straighten that first coil back. Pull it back up away from the bottom, and you make sure both your coils are pretty much straight. See straight through. Line up, neither one of them touching the posts other than their leads. Neither one of them touching anything. Alright. Now, for this part, you need your mod box. Now, if you're worried about blowing up your mod and all that stuff because you didn't build the coil right, I suggest getting a regulated mod. Most mods these days that you buy are regulated. Some have presettings, but almost every single one is going to have a power mode. The mod I'm using today is the Stigley 100 watts power mod, regulated mod. It runs 100 watts, runs on 2 separate 18650 batteries. But like I said, any regulated mod will run. I suggest putting your mod down to about 50 watts for this. What you do is you throw it on. Alright, and then you just press the button. Now, as you can see, it's starting to light up, which is exactly what we're going for. if you didn't build it right, the reason I say regulated mods is right there on the display. It'll tell you to check your atomizer because you didn't build it right. If that's the case, just check your coils. It means one of your coils is probably touching the other coil via the lead, or it's touching one of the walls or the post or something. That's usually what it means, or the screws aren't tightened down enough or something. Just check all that before firing it again. You'll be all right. So you fire them up, you get them hot. Ooh, that's bright. And then you can use, if you have the ceramic tweezers, they're best because the ceramic tweezers won't short it out. If you don't, you can use pliers. Just make sure to keep your finger away from the fire button while you're squeezing.
So if it gets bright, what do?
You just let go. You only want to burn it for a couple of seconds when you don't have anything in there.
If it is too bright, is what I mean. I'm sorry, I didn't phrase that correctly.
No, you just let it go. It's supposed to get bright. It's supposed to get red hot. But you'll notice that the more you press them, and if you let them cool off, they won't get as bright as fast. Because if they're getting really bright like that, it means they're not set just right. But that's what this part is for, is pressing it all together, getting them nice and tight, and getting them set just right.
And you don't want to touch these when they're red hot, don't you?
Now, if you're using the ceramic tweezers, it's okay to be touching it while it's burning and while it's hot. The whole point of this is heating it up so that the wire is hot, so that when you press it with the tweezers, it's more pliable and it'll actually stick together better. Like I said, you can use your standard pliers. Don't squeeze too high. Don't squeeze too hard because you can bend the coil. And don't touch the coil with regular pliers while you're pressing the fire button because you will short it out. All right, so when you get it all pressed, you'll notice that as I fire it, it's going to light up from the center of the coils out. And that's when you know you have a decent coil. So at this point, I'll turn my mod box off because I don't need it on at the moment. Next, you get your cotton. Like I said, any plain unbleached cotton that you can buy at Walgreens, CVS, Kroger, Walmart will work. If you can find it, these square pieces of cotton, otherwise known as Japanese cotton, in my opinion, are the best thing you can get for coil building. So pretty much you just cut off what you need for your coil, for your mod. In my case, with the wrap coils I just built, I do about a finger width. Finger width cotton. And then I split it in two. Straight down the middle, separate it. That's just me, because that's what works with my mod. All right, you want to twist one end of the cotton. Get it as tight as you can. This is where your tweezers are going to come into play, depending on how big your cotton is. And then, camera guy, come on out. You gotta put the cotton, well, if I can get it. You gotta put the cotton through the coil. This is probably the hardest part of building a coil, is putting the cotton in. If you do the cotton too thick, it doesn't like to go. There it is.
So would wetting the cotton help you pull it through?
It's not that it helps me pull it through. It's like threading a needle for sewing. You know, if you wet the tip and get it straight, it slides easier. Now, sometimes it doesn't go all the way through, which is where the tweezers come in to help you pull it through the coil. But once you get it going, then you can just pull with your hand. Just pull gently, because if it gets caught, you can bust the coil. You can break the wire. So you want to pull it almost all the way through till you leave about a half an inch on one side, the side that hasn't been wetted, and then you want to cut all but a half an inch off on the other side. Some people do a full inch. It depends on the size of your atomizer and how much cotton it can hold. But anyway, so you pull it through and then you cut so you have a half inch of untainted cotton on both sides of the coil. Then you get your other piece of cotton, you roll up one end, and you repeat with your other coil. Did you just shut yourself up? And see, that one's a little tight right there, so I'm gonna have to. When it gets tight like that, put your fingernail on the coil on the opposite direction to pull to help hold the coil in place so you don't bend it.
Now you're basically repeating.
All right, so like I said, you repeat on both coils and you have your cotton on both sides. Now you want to take your tweezers and just tuck the cotton down into the down into it. The Infinity 2, which is what I'm using now, has really deep wells underneath, so you just tuck the cotton down into those wells. Like so. Stick that cotton down in there. Alright. Alright, so you got your cotton all nice and neatly tucked in. And the rest of this is pretty simple. You'll do this. Once you're there, that's your coil. It's built, it's done, it's good to go. Take your fluid, soak your cotton.
Not metaphorically, like literally soak it, right?
Yes, literally soak your cotton. Your first vape, you want to get it nice and soaked. You even want to put a drop or two on the coil itself, so that the cotton inside the actual coil itself will get a little liquid on it.
And won't literally catch fire.
Yes, it will literally. If you don't soak it enough your first vape, this thing literally will catch fire. No, I will not be demonstrating.
Maybe next time.
Alright, so you soak your cotton, turn your mod back on and do a test fire. Voila. So you throw your cover back on. Might help to hit it right. And voila. Flavor I'm actually using right now is called Sugar Cookie by Vapor Galleria, 0 nicotine. And that's pretty much how you do it. A list of all of the basic necessary tools will be in the description of this video. Like and share if you want. Thank you very much.